If you're looking for an easy and affordable way to get 3 inches of lift for your 2007 to 2018 JK Wrangler, this officially licensed Jeep 3-inch front, 3-inch rear full lift kit with shock extenders will be a great way to do it. Now this kit will be a simplistic option for the JK owner who is looking to retain their factory suspension if their components are in good condition, or they are just a fan of that factory ride quality and they just want to get 3 inches in height for better ground clearance off-road, up to a 35-inch tire, and overall more of an aggressive appearance. Now that will make it great for the weekend warrior doing easier or minor off-roading, and the daily driver again looking for an affordable kit to get them started with that additional height. This kit will feature 3-inch spacers that are true to height for the front and rear to gain that additional height when stacked with your factory spring, which will allow you better ground clearance to scale obstacles if you are taking your JK off-road. This kit will also include front and rear shock extenders that will allow for full shock travel to maintain drivability and performance when adding that 3 inches of height. Not only is this going to add to the capability of your Wrangler, but on-road this kit will again be an incredibly easy way to achieve more of that aggressive aesthetic and more level stance, which will up the street appeal on your build. This kit will be able to fit up to a 37-inch tire in the wheel well, but may have some rubbing out wheel lock. So if you're not looking to make any modifications, a 35 is going to be your best bet. Now this kit will be tough, made of a CNC machine high-grade steel construction, so it will be able to withstand abuse on and off-road. Now on top, this kit will also have a nice black powder coat finish for rust resistance and to keep them looking brand new for years to come. Now this will also come with the Mopar stamp of approval, or that officially licensed sticker right on top of here, so you can rest assured that this is going to have factory-like quality for some peace of mind. This will also come with everything that you need on top of the spacers, including brake line drop brackets and all of the hardware for a complete bolt-on install and no modification required. Now this kit will be very affordable compared to other 3-inch lift kits at around $375. Now compared to others on the page, this is going to be incredibly simplistic when it comes to the components, but at the same time it is going to make it that budget-friendly solution. Now what I will say is that this is strictly going to give you the height and not change much of that ride or the performance, but if that's what you're looking for in a Jeep branded and backed lift kit, then this is going to be a great one to consider. Install is going to be a 3 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, taking about 4 hours with the right tools and the right setup. Now at this point we can head over to the shop and check out a detailed breakdown on how to get this onto your JK at home. So that's going to wrap it up for me. Let's go ahead and get into it.
For this install you will need air and electric impacts, a ratchet, various size extensions and adapters, 10, 11, 16, 17, 18, shallow and deep 19 and 21 millimeter sockets, 10, 14, 18, 19, and 21 millimeter wrenches, a pair of vice grips, a ratchet strap, and also not shown here is a pole jack or jack and jack stands. What's up guys, today we're going to be installing a lift kit on our Jeep, so let's get started. So now we come to the front of our Jeep and we've got our pole jack supporting our differential again. The first thing we're going to do, just as with the rear, we're going to go ahead and remove the brake line bracket from the frame. So for this one, we're going to go ahead and pop this ABS line out of its retainer here. We'll grab our 10 mil socket on our impact and take that bolt out. We'll go ahead and pop that out, let that hang just like so, and we'll do the same thing for the other side. Now we can go ahead and remove our lower shock mounting point. So we'll grab our 18 mil socket and 18 mil wrench. Go ahead and pop these off. And you may need to go ahead and push up with your pole jack or jack to get your differential to release the tension on the bolt here. And we'll go ahead and lower that back down. Then we'll do the same thing for the other side. So now we're going to go ahead and remove the top mounting point for our shocks. And for that, we're going to go ahead and grab some vice grips and just go ahead and lock onto our shock shaft here. Then we'll grab our 14 mil wrench. Go ahead and remove this top nut. Once it gets to a low enough point, we can try and get our ratcheting side of our wrench on. You may not be able to right away. Might have to lower it a little bit more with the open end side. Go ahead and finish this off by hand. Go ahead and remove our front shocks. So now that we have our shocks out, we can go ahead and move on to our sway bar end links. So for our top mounting nuts here, we're going to go ahead and grab our 18 mil socket on our impact and run those off. And for our bottom one, we're going to switch out to an 18 millimeter socket on our ratchet and an 18 millimeter wrench. Go ahead and take that off and remove our end links. We'll do the same thing for the other side. Now we can go ahead and remove our lower track bar bolt. Now this does have a flag nut on the back, so you don't need a wrench. You will simply need a 21 millimeter socket and maybe an extension on your impact. Now that we have that loose, we can go ahead and drop our differential down and get our factory springs out of their purchase. Go ahead, pop our springs out, and repeat that for the other side. So we've got our Jeep up in the air, we've got the wheels off, and the first thing we're going to do in the rear here is remove the mounting bolt for our brake line bracket. This is going to give us a little bit of extra room as to not put stress on our brake lines, and we are going to be adding an extension bracket into there. So we're going to grab our 10 mil on our impact and go ahead and pop that off real quick. And let that hang down, and then we'll do the same thing for the other side. So now we've got the vehicle raised up a little bit more. We've got pole jacks under the rear differential to go ahead and support that. And what we're going to do first is loosen these two forward mounting bolts for our control arms. We're not going to fully remove them, but loosening is going to allow for easier lowering of our differential. So we'll grab our 21 mil socket and swivel adapter on our impact. Go ahead and just loosen those up just a little bit. And these do have flag nuts on the backside, so you don't need a wrench for that. And then we'll do the same thing for the other side. So next we're going to come under here and we're going to pop our vent tube off of our differential. This is just going to prevent it from getting damaged while we lower the differential. And it simply just pops off. There's no clip or anything. Now we're going to go ahead and remove the 10 millimeter mounting nuts holding our parking brake cable bracket in place. So we'll go ahead and grab our 10 mil socket on our impact again, run these off. And we can go ahead, just make sure our bracket comes down freely. After that, we can go ahead and remove our lower shock mounting bolts. So we'll grab our 18 mil socket on our impact and an 18 mil wrench, pop these off. Then we can go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. Next, we can go ahead and get at our two 16mm top mounting bolts. Now you only have to fully remove one, you can just loosen the other, as these are slotted mounting points and we're going to be reusing this hardware. So we'll grab our 16mm and our extension on our impact. We'll go ahead and remove this side. And then for this side, we're just going to loosen it enough to slide this out, like that. We can go ahead and remove our shocks. We'll do the same thing for the other side. So now we can go ahead and remove our sway bar end links. So we'll grab our 18mm socket and our impact again and our 18mm wrench, and we'll remove the upper mounting nut and the lower mounting bolt. Now you don't want to discard these because these are going to be moving up front to replace our current front sway bar end links. So now once we have that out, we can go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. So now we're going to go ahead and loosen our upper track bar mounting bolt and then go ahead and remove the lower one so we can swing our track bar out of the way and lower our differential. So we'll grab our 21mm socket on our impact, loosen this one up. You may need to go ahead and grab a 21mm wrench as well and get on the nut for the backside. And again, just loosen it up a little bit, and then we'll move on to our lower mounting bolt. Now this bolt does have a flag nut on the back, so you won't need a wrench for that. So now we can go ahead and lower our differential down and remove our factory springs. Once they get low enough, go ahead, pop those right out. Now you do want to save your isolators off the top of your spring because we will be reusing those for the new springs. So now we can go ahead and pull our isolator off of our bump stop here. Kind of a pain to get it down. Once we pop that off, we can go ahead and add our spacer in. Then stick our isolator right back on there. It's going to kind of hold that in place. Then we can go ahead and reinstall our spring. So now we'll go ahead and get our spring back into position. Try and push this up as far as we can. Now this may be a little tough to get your spring back in, so if you need to, you can go ahead and grab a pry bar and just pry up from your perch. Kind of use that to work your spring. So now to make things a lot easier when reinstalling our spring, we're going to go ahead and use a handheld spring compressor. Now there are many different styles. This happens to be a clamshell style. So what we're going to do is we've got our hooks latched around our coils here, and with our safeties in, we're going to go ahead and grab our 19mm socket on our impact, compress this spring down, and make sure if you are using a clamshell to not put your fingers where the clamshell is going to pinch down. Now we've got that good and compressed. We'll go ahead and get that up onto the vehicle. So now we'll go ahead and get our spring in position here. We've got that sitting on our perch. We'll go ahead and decompress it and get it into position. Make sure that's sitting properly. Okay, we'll go ahead and get our compressor off. Then we'll make sure our bottom coil here is going to sit back in the factory retainer spot on our perch. Spin this around. And make sure that bottom coil locks right into its retainer position. So now that we have this side in, we can go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. So now we can go ahead and get our shock reinstalled. So we'll go ahead and get our bottom bushing and washer. Make sure that's in place. Slide that up in there. We'll get our top bushing and top washer in place. I'll slide this over here. Sometimes it's easier to get your bushing and washer in place first, and then line up your shock shaft. Like so. Get that through. And we'll go ahead and grab our factory nut. Get that reinstalled. Might need to drop it down just a hair. You can even kind of tighten it like this a little bit. Okay. Then we'll go ahead and grab our wrenches and get that all the way tightened down. We'll go ahead and grab our 14 mil wrench. Start tightening this back down. So now we can go ahead and get our shock extenders in place. So this is going to slip over our factory bottom shock mount. Go ahead and get that on. Now this is kind of a tight fit, but it will go. Just kind of get that in position, like so. Make sure our bolt hole lines up. Now that we've got our extender in place, we'll go ahead and grab our sleeve here. That's going to go inside of our factory shock mount. Then we're going to use our factory bolt and nut to go ahead and mount this. We'll slide that through. Get our factory nut back on. Then we'll go ahead and get our shock in place, and then we'll tighten everything down at once. We'll use our pole jack here to raise our differential back up. And once it looks pretty close, go ahead and grab our hardware and bolt this in. So now we'll go ahead and grab our supplied bolt, get that in, get our supplied lock nut on the back side here. We'll go ahead and tighten this all down. So we'll grab our 18 mil wrench and our 18 mil socket on our impact, tighten down our factory bolt here. So now we'll go ahead and grab our 19 millimeter wrench and our 19 mil socket on our impact, tighten down our new mounting bolt. Once we have this complete for this side, we'll go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. So our next step is going to be to put the wheels back on the vehicle and lower it down to the ground and use the weight of the vehicle to get our sway bar end links lined back up, as well as using the steering itself to get our track bar back into place. And also it preloads our suspension so we can tighten down our rear control arms back to spec, because you always want to preload your suspension before tightening down stuff with bushings, as it could cause premature tearing and premature wear, and no one wants that. So the last thing before we get this on the ground is going to be to install our brake line extension brackets up front. So we'll go ahead and get this in position with our factory mount. Use our factory 10 millimeter screw. We'll go ahead and get this in place. Then we'll grab our 10 mil socket on our impact. Make sure this is pretty much straight down. Tighten this up. Then you'll want to massage your brake line down into position. You know, it is a hard line, but it will go pretty easily to where you need it to go. Ours has already been down in position due to previous installs. So we'll go ahead and grab our 11 millimeter bolt and flat washer. Go ahead and get that through. Then on the back side, we'll add another flat washer and our provided 11 millimeter nut. Then we'll go ahead and grab our 11 mil socket or 11 mil wrench and tighten this down. And we are going to leave this ABS retainer out of a bracket here, just because it gives it a little bit more wiggle room and not so much tension up in this area for full travel or anything like that. And once you have that done, you can go ahead and repeat the same steps for the other side. So now that we have the vehicle on the ground, we can go ahead and get our front sway bar end links reinstalled. Go ahead and get our top stud in here. Get our factory nut loosely on. We'll go ahead and line this up. Now you can move your sway bar to help line up your end link. We'll grab our factory bolt. Put it back into place. Get our factory nut back on. And then we'll just leave these hand tight and we'll go ahead and get the other side on, then we'll come back and tighten everything down. So we'll go ahead and grab our 18 mil socket on our impact and tighten down our upper stud here. And for our bottom one, we will switch out to our 18 millimeter socket on our ratchet, our 18 millimeter wrench. Go ahead and get this tightened down. Then you can go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. So now we're ready to get our track bar back in place, and we have an extra set of hands in the Jeep turning the steering wheel to go ahead and help us get this lined up. As you can see, turning the wheel with it off moves it, and if we can get it to turn the other way, about right there, we can go ahead and get our track bar bolt back in place. Once we have that through, we can go ahead and reinstall our flag nut. Now we'll go ahead and get our flag nut started on our bolt. We just need it to catch. Sometimes it is a little tricky. So now we'll get our 21 mil socket and swivel adapter on our bolt here. Get our flag nut in place. We're just going to lightly turn this to get our flag nut started. Once you feel it catch, we can go ahead and tighten this all the way up. So now that we have everything out, first thing we're going to do is install our new spring spacers. So our spacer is going to go right here where our factory isolator and spring go. And what we're going to do is grab our 19 millimeter bolt and flat washer, and we're going to put that into our shallow 19 mil socket along with an extension. And that is going to go right up into this mounting hole here so that we can easily access it, because you can't really get to it with this sleeve on it. And then we're going to take our retainer. That's going to slide over the top of our perch here. Go right into there. And we're going to send that right up in. Now this is kind of tricky to get to because you can't really see it. But what we're going to do is get that bolt started just like so. You'll know when it's started. Then you can relieve the pressure on your lower hand holding everything in place. Go ahead and get this tightened up as much as we can. You'll feel it when it starts to grab on your retainer nut up top, and that's going to stay in place. So now we can grab our wrench and our impact and go ahead and tighten that down. So it is pretty difficult to get a wrench back up in there or pliers or anything to hold that retainer nut, and it is welded on, so we don't really have to worry about it going anywhere. So what we're going to do is get our socket and extension in place again. That's our 19 mil on our impact. We're going to go ahead and pull down on our spacer while we go ahead and tighten this up, and that's going to keep tension on that retainer nut. And that'll allow us to tighten that down. So once we have that done, we can go ahead and repeat the same process for the other side. Once we have our spacers on, we can go ahead and install our springs, still with our factory isolator still on the top of the spring. So go ahead and get that on. Pop our spring back over our bottom perch here, like so. Make sure it's in a good spot here. And we'll go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. Then we'll go ahead and raise our differential back up a little bit, just to help our springs be captured, like so. So that sits on the perch, like that. Then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So now that we have our springs back in, we can go ahead and reinstall our sway bar end links. Go ahead and get that in place. We'll loosely install our 18mm nut up top here. Then we'll go ahead and get our lower 18mm mounting bolt in, followed by our 18mm nut. So then we'll go ahead and get the other side in, then we'll tighten these down. Now we'll grab our 18mm socket on our impact and our 18mm wrench and get these tightened up. And we'll do the same thing for the other side. So now we can go ahead and get our track bar back in place, and for that we're going to use a tried and true ratchet strap method. So we're going to hook that to the top of our track bar mount here. Go ahead, take the other side, hook it up here onto our body. Go ahead and get that tight. And we're going to go ahead and get some tension on that. Start pulling that over like so. And we will take our track bar and see where that lands. Get that up into position. Go ahead and continue pulling this. Now you want to exercise caution when using a ratchet strap. Too much tension, these can pop and cause injury, so you definitely want to be safe about using this. Check our alignment here. A little bit farther. So now that we're close, we'll go ahead and get our bolt ready. When we pull that taut, we'll get our bolt through. Now we've got it through our first hole, we just need to get through the back side, and then we'll reinstall our flag nut and get that tightened down. So now we'll get this the rest of the way through, then we can reinstall our flag nut and get this tightened back down. All right. Now we've got that through, we can go ahead and release the tension on our ratchet strap. Go ahead and get that unhooked. So now we'll go ahead and get our flag nut started on the back side here. Start this all the way over like so. Get that to catch, and that should hold in position. Then we'll go ahead and tighten this back down. So now we'll go ahead and grab our 21mm socket on our impact, tighten this back down. Then we can go ahead and tighten down our other side. So now we'll go ahead and add in our 21mm wrench with our 21 socket and impact. Go ahead and tighten this side down. So now we can go ahead and add our shock extenders for our rear shocks here. So we're going to grab our shock extender bracket with the crossbars facing up. So you notice we have more of a gap down here below. That's for the factory shock to go through here. Then we're going to grab our supplied hardware, and just as with the factory one, we're going to loosely install this one side with the bolt and flat washer. We're going to leave that loose for now. Then we can go ahead and hook our shock in, add our other bolt, and then get that tightened down. Go ahead and get this side hooked in to our bolt here. And we can go ahead and add our second bolt and flat washer in. Go ahead and get that lined up. Get that one started. Then we'll go ahead and tighten that down. Now we'll go ahead and grab our 17mm socket and extension on our impact. We'll go ahead and run these in. We'll go ahead and snug both of them down, then we'll come back and fully tighten them. Now we have that secure, we'll go ahead and mount our bottom mounts for our shocks once we do that on the other side. So now we can go ahead and reinstall our factory 18mm mounting bolts for the bottom of our shock. Now you may need to adjust your shock a little bit, so you can use a small pry bar to get in here and kind of work your shock up or down if you need to. Then we can go ahead, get our hardware back in place. We'll get our nut back on and tighten this down. So we'll go ahead and get our 18mm nut back onto our bolt. And we'll grab our 18mm wrench along with our 18mm socket on our impact and tighten this down. Then we'll go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. So now we'll get our parking brake bracket back in place. Get our first hook in with our 10mm nut. All right. So now we can go ahead and install our brake line extension bracket. So we're going to grab our bracket and use our factory 10mm bolt to go ahead and put that back into the original mounting point here. Then we'll go ahead and bolt our bracket to our new extension bracket using the provided hardware. So now we'll go ahead and throw our provided bolt and flat washer through the front here. Get it lined up. And on the back side, we can add another flat washer, followed by our provided lock nut. Then we'll grab our 10mm socket on our impact to tighten down our factory bolt here. Then we'll grab our 11mm socket and our 11mm wrench to tighten down our new hardware here. And once you have that on, you can go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. So now we're going to wait until we have everything on and the wheels on the vehicle to go ahead and lower it down and preload our suspension, to go ahead and tighten back down our control arms, reinstall our vent tube, as well as our parking brake brackets. That's just going to give us a little bit more room. Now, one thing to note here, you probably want to go ahead and get a vent tube extension for your factory tube or your differential, just because this one kind of stretches at full travel, so it's definitely something to consider. If you're doing any real off-roading, long travel stuff, you might want to throw a breather on there or a vent tube that has an extension on it. Alrighty guys, that about wraps up our review and install of our officially licensed Jeep 3-inch front and rear full lift kit with shock extenders for your 07 to 18 Jeep Wrangler JK. Thanks for watching, and as always, for everything Wrangler, keep it right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.